Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Shelby. As you saw by the title of this video, I have another books I've read video. So these are just the last video I posted was my books I read during quarantine, and this is just the 6 books that I read after that. So a couple things first. Comment down below how you would like these videos done, like in the new year. Would you like more of a like at the end of each month, like how I do my empties, but like at the end of each month being like, these are the books that I read this month, blah 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 blah? Or would you like me to kind of keep with this format of like, once I've finished 5 or 6 books, I post a video, which has been a struggle because after this one I have a whole nother video also to film, because I just haven't felt like filming book videos because I got overwhelmed. But yeah, let me know if you would like a books I read this month type of a style video. Also, would you be interested in a books that I want to read, like my TBR type of video? Yeah, also I have a bookstagram. It is not popping up. I don't know what is going on, but I have a bookstagram. It's called Schpleebs Reads. It's SCHPLEEBZ Reads. And yeah, I post all sorts of, I post all my reviews, I post hauls. Yeah, so that is a place that you would see the reviews before this video, because all of the books that I am talking about in this video, I have shared those reviews. So yeah, if you want to read those reviews first. Also, if you want to read those reviews even earlier, you can add me on Goodreads. It's not loading, but that is linked down below. So follow me or add me as a friend on Goodreads, because yeah, I think that would be fun to have more friends on there. I love seeing what other people are reading. So let's get started. I have my Goodreads reviews up, and so if I need to clarify anything, I can just read from that. So first book, One Last Stop. I read this August 22nd through September 1st. I gave it a 4-star. This was a really fun read. It was different from what I would normally read. It was like romance, some sci-fi sprinkled in there, like time travel sprinkled in there. It was fascinating. Mystery. Yeah, I felt like there was a little bit of spice too, but I feel like if the spice was gone, this would be like a middle grade read for sure, if the spice was gone. So it was super slow at the beginning. I believe once I hit like page 115 or something, I did start to like understand what was going on. Going into it, I didn't realize that it was not just romance. And so yeah, there were twists and turns. There were 2 mysteries solved. So the main mystery is they cannot figure out why Jane, yeah, I forgot their name, it's been a minute. I'm filming this October 28th, so it's been a minute since I read this. So they cannot figure out why Jane is stuck on the queue. I think it's the queue. She's not stuck on, she's stuck on one of the trains in, gosh, New York? Yeah, in New York. Jane is stuck on a train in New York, and they cannot figure out how long she's been there, why she's there, because she's from like the 70s or 80s, and they're trying to figure it all out. And so August is from New Orleans, I believe, and she moves to New York City. She ends up in like a room with like some people that end up, honestly, she creates her own little family. It's really cute. And they all work together to get Jane off this train, and it's fascinating on how they do it. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this book, for it not being the type of book that I normally would read. Next I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This book is a lot like Love in Other Words, and I like this one more, I will say. I read this September 1st through September 4th, so this was a pretty quick read for me. I gave it 5-star. There's a second one coming out next year, I believe, and I may have already pre-ordered it, so there's that. That just shows how much I love it. I believe it's the second one. Now I'm questioning it, but I know it's based off of some of the characters in this book. So, yeah. But, okay. So, it's about Charlie, Sam, Percy, and Delilah. I really enjoyed seeing them mature and grow. I like that it was told from Percy's point of view, but the conversations were kind of told in like third person, which is really fascinating. So Percy ends up falling in love with Sam. Yeah, Sam, because Sam is Charlie's younger brother. Yeah, so she ends up falling in love with Sam, and that's a spoiler, but not really a spoiler because you kind of know from the get-go. And I like that it's like the cottage feel. I believe this one is also written in the like 17 years ago, and then the now, yeah, it's written in that style, which I really have started really liking. And so yeah, it flips back and forth, and they fall in love essentially. And the twist with like Charlie, there's a twist with Charlie in it. And I really like Percy's friend Delilah. She's like, the teen years is kind of bothersome, but she really loves like Percy. And yeah, I don't know, it was an enjoyable summer read. I probably would not read it any other time of year, but yeah, I liked it. It's like a feel-good type of book. Like it was a really easy, simple read. It was enjoyable. There was nothing like super standout spectacular, but there was nothing like awful either, if that makes sense. I don't know, I really liked that. My next book is Class Mom by Lori Gelman. I bought this like 2 or 3 years ago, not having a clue like what it was about. I was just intrigued by it. I picked it up at Barnes & Noble, and it was one of those like 50% off books, and I was like, you know what, whatever. I bought it. Took me a long time to actually read it. I read it September 4th through September 8th, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Jen Dixon, which is she's the class mom. She reminds me a lot of Lorelai Gilmore, except she's like married and settled down and stuff, but her personality reminds me a lot of Lorelai Gilmore. I loved the way that it was written. So there would be like her email that she would send to the families, and then there would be like the actual chapter, and then there'd be like throughout it there'd be like another email that she would send to the families, or like families emails back to her, and I liked that because it broke up the book. It didn't make it feel like you were reading just straight through and bored. It broke up the way that the book was told. I like the connections that Jen was making throughout the book, and her different friendships. So she has 2 older daughters that she had when she was like in her early 20s, and then she has a son, Max, that she has with her husband, that she had quite a while later. And yeah, her best friend is the PTA president, and kind of convinced her to become the class mom, and essentially towards the end of the book she becomes the class mom for the next year, I believe, as well. There are other books in this series There's 3 other books in the series. And yeah, I have not picked them up yet, but I will eventually probably read them. I just have so many books. But I give it a 4-star. It was very simple, easy read. Nothing crazy. Yeah, I kind of feel like that's kind of what I was going for a while, was just like simple, easy reads, like, yeah. Then, I'm gonna skip over my next book and go to November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I really like this cover. So I read this September 10th through September 13th. I gave it a 3 on Goodreads, but I said in my review that I would probably give it a 3.5. Basically, it starts out as like another generic romance novel. Typical Colleen Hoover twist towards the like middle end. Like, it was the typical like coho vibe. It flipped between Ben and Fallon, her story, and I also, so essentially these two meet in specific circumstances, and they go through, like, each November 9th they meet up no matter where they're at. So there's the first November 9th, 7 November 9ths, because there's 6th, and then the last one is the final November 9th. So there's 7 November 9s that are told throughout this book. So there's a twist with Ben. He is an author, and he's writing a book on the idea of meeting up with a stranger every November 9th. Like, once the book's gotten into it a little bit, that's what he's doing. Fallon had gotten into, like, she got burned in a fire before the book even starts, and there's a twist with that. And yeah, it's very good. There is lying and manipulation in here a little bit. There's talk of suicide and death, and yeah, I did enjoy this book. I did only give it a 3.5, because I didn't feel like it was my favorite Colleen Hoover book. It was all right. I liked Ben and Fallon's love story. I wished it was kind of a little different, that it played out a little different. Yeah, that's that. I also would have liked at the end to have like an additional November 9th, like a 5 years later November 9th, to know what they're doing, or something like that, because the final November 9th was not enough for me. So, Colleen Hoover, give us an extra chapter, please and thank you. So next I have, the reason I skipped my next book is because it's Wendy Darling, and then I read November 9th, and then I read Captain Pan, and these two go together, and I wanted to talk about them together. So I have Wendy Darling is the first book in, I think it's only a 2-book series. Yeah. Maybe there will be more, I don't really know. But I gave this a 3, and I read this September 9th to September 11th. I'm not a fantasy girl, but I think I'm becoming a fantasy girly. Again, like I said with the last one, I would give this a 3.5 if I could, but I stuck with a 3 because I didn't feel like it was quite a 4. I enjoyed it a lot. It added to like the Peter Pan story that we were told when we were little. Added some spice and romance to it, which was fascinating. It's told from a 10/30 years later, 10 years in our world, 30 in Peter's, because time is different, which I thought was a cool concept because they both had different time frames. It's got some interesting plot lines. It was easy to read. It added in other characters, which I liked. And yeah, Hook. I liked that there were changes to the story as well, about like Hook's hand being taken Away by like Peter. I liked that Mother, who was introduced earlier on, who Wendy was jealous about, Mother became, she was the villain, which you kind of get that vibe at the beginning, so I don't think that's giving anything away. But yeah, I thought it was good. And yeah, my last line that I said, I'm excited to read the next book and see how it all pans out, LOL. So I was pretty happy with that pun. But then the next book, Captain Pan. Again, I gave this a 3. Apparently I was very much giving out 3s. I read this September 13th through September 16th. I liked the way that this was written. I liked the way that the story ended. Again, I would have liked more to the story. I liked that we got to see different parts of different realms. That was fascinating. I liked that we got to hear more about like Peter's childhood and his growing up. And it was nice to also, like, Peter's main thing in this book was he wanted to kill Hook, but he ended up not, and you'll find out why, and how he dealt with Hook. If you read this book, I don't want to give that away, but he does not kill Hook. I liked the ending bit where they came back to Earth and got to see Wendy's brothers, and I wish there would have been more of that, like all of them, like Wendy and her 2 brothers and Pan together. Like I really wish they would have had that scene, but they didn't. And then I really would have liked, like in the ending, for Wendy to be pregnant, because there was big talk of that in this book. And yeah, I thought it was a really good end to the story. There's a lot of like fairy tale stuff that I am not into and not versed about prior to reading this, and I thought that that was interesting to like read and hear about some of that, because like I said, I'm not like a fantasy person, and the only fantasy that I've really read has been Harry Potter, so this is very different from Harry Potter. I like the 3rd book. So Rebecca F. Kenny, if you're watching this, which I doubt, I highly doubt you are, I would like a 3rd book, please, and thank you. Because I just want to know, like, I want Wendy pregnant with Pan's baby. I want to get to know the kid. Like, I want to see, like, how the brothers, like, do the brothers end up coming to Neverland? I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have. But, so, that is this video. Again, let me know the couple questions I had at the beginning. Let me know down below what you think. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. Add me on Bookstagram, add me on Goodreads, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.